All right.
Okay, this is an informational meeting for Conservation Commission for the City of Torrington. And present is Christine Altman, Dan McGinnis, and staff Jeremy Lightford.
All right. So we have a discussion and I guess an informational meeting at this point with representatives from Silicon Ranch. So
Okay.
I think we can just probably turn it over to them.
Okay.
And I will share my screen with the hold on. Share my screen with the PowerPoint. Hopefully I get the right one up here. I know why two of them. Okay. There we go. All right, so we are going to have this. I'll move this out of the way as best I can here. All right. I guess we can take it away then. I'll forward the slides as you tell me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate you guys having us here tonight, here in person and at home. My name is Allie Weaver, and I'm the Director of Project Development for Silicon Ranch. And next to me, I have our co-founder and chairman of the board, Matt Kisber. Thank you again for having us. Jeremy, if you want to go to the next.
Yeah.
I have one more, please. So I don't know if you all were able to hear my presentation at City Council on October 18th. And so I figured I would just run through, who we are briefly, and then I have a large appendix of slides as well of kind of project specific slides in case we want to talk about anything there. But starting out a little bit about the company, Silicon Ranch, and we'll turn it over to Matt too, since we have our co-founder here and expert. But Silicon Ranch was founded in 2011 out of state government, former state government. One of the founders, former governor of Tennessee, Phil Bredesen, and then Mr. Kisber here was the commissioner of economic development for the state of Tennessee. And then we also had the commissioner of revenue, Reagan Farr, who is our current acting CEO. And together, the three of them, while they were in state government, saw a lot of opportunities coming in the renewable energy sector and wanted to make sure that the state of Tennessee was taking part in that growth from a jobs perspective and location of facilities. Fast forward to when they termed out of office in 2010, that's when they formed Silicon Ranch together, the three in 2011, really with the premise of being long-term owner operator and making sure that they were never selling a project. You guys may be familiar in the industry. There's a lot of developers that flip or sell projects off, or they really specialize in one niche of the market. And that was really important to the founders to make sure that the same person that the utility was talking with at the beginning of the process for the power purchase agreement was the same person that was going to own that facility in the long run. So that's really what this slide is intending to convey, that we have all of the in-house expertise to fully develop, fund, own, and operate all 140 facilities that we own across the country. We're in 15 states currently. Matt, is there anything you'd like to add?
Sure, I'll just add briefly that as Allie said, when we started the company, the three of us, and former Governor Bredesen was also the former mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, and we wanted to start a company that both provided renewable energy to utilities and companies, but also made a contribution into the communities where we located. And it was very important with our public service backgrounds to be different than the others in the marketplace. And we felt like by buying the land underneath our projects, by owning the long-term project, and excuse me, and by working with the communities, we've never, as Ali said, we've never sold a project. We don't intend to sell a project. So we are the long-term owner operators. And that's something that both our utility partners appreciate as well as our community partners. And it's part of the ethos of the company.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This goes on just to convey a bit more in detail here. Like I mentioned, having the in-house expertise to develop, we're now over 1 gigawatt of operating facilities spanning coast to coast. And as Matt just mentioned, really with the focus on the collaborative approach with the communities in which we're in. And we're also very proud to say that we've completed every project that we've signed a power purchase agreement for. So we don't typically like to back down from a challenge.
Yeah.
You can hit the next slide when you're ready. One more, please. As a part of that process, the state of Connecticut is, as you guys are probably aware, the solar facilities are regulated at the state level. And so we go through a state permitting process for the facility itself. In other jurisdictions where it's more localized, there's a lot more dialogue typically that goes, through the communities along the permitting process and way. So this situation being a bit unique that we were going through everything at the state level. So for us, it was important to be in front of you here tonight and, happy to do it as often or as needed in the future as well. But what we're working on right now is trying to establish ourselves and get to know the community better. And I think that's through the Conservation Commission and trying to understand where partnerships may exist and opportunities that allow us to be a good corporate citizen in the community. And so, this slide's just an emphasis on, we do take the stakeholder engagement very seriously as a part of our long-term commitment to the communities. Let me hit the next slide. One example I wanted to show for you guys tonight to highlight is, as you can imagine, one of our natural fits is in the education sector and partnering with middle school and high school students to do site tours. We've developed school curriculums. In the past, we've just deployed, over the past couple of years, have established our regenerative energy program, which is incorporating grazing into our vegetation maintenance plans. And so it's a more holistic approach as opposed to mowing the site and the grasses. It's a more holistic approach to land management and have a full program there. We also do the bee pollinator habitats, which I think are well known in town as well. And so that really is that holistic approach that we're looking at through the regenerative energy program. And we find great ways to partner with the schools to get the kids and the thought leaders of the future involved in what we have going on. Thanks. Thank you. So in some conversations that we've had thus far, understand that our property abuts some open space that the city of Torrington already owns. And I've highlighted those parcels in yellow. And after having a brief conversation with Jeremy about what the Conservation Commission has been working on and what opportunities may exist for us to participate, this seems like a natural fit given the location of the open space that you already have, that there might be a way for Silicon Ranch to contribute to that open space project. And what I've highlighted here is about 7.5 acres of land that we will not be using for the development of the facility, and that we could potentially look at including to the open space trails, some interactive signage. And what's neat about that parcel as well is that there's, you could see outlined just barely in blue there is a vernal pool. And so a pretty diverse ecosystem within the vernal pool that attracts threatened and endangered species. And I think as far as kind of a viewing goes for trails, it definitely gives an opportunity to, see some wildlife there.
Just where I'm pointing, it is up where I'm pointing my cursor.
Yep,
okay.
Exactly there. Yep.
Okay. Oh, forward.
Yeah, no, you're good. Oh, no, you're good. So I was gonna say, I was gonna leave it there. Ultimately, that's kind of what we had, and really hoping to talk with the Conservation Commission, happy to talk about project specifics. Like I said, in the appendice, I put a ton of project slides that we can definitely get into more details about that if there's questions. But, we're hoping to start having conversations about the open space project, how we might be able to contribute in a unique way, having the facility next door, potentially having sheep on site, and how that may be able to incorporate into the community.
I have a question.
Just grab your microphone, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Leaning back here.
Just because otherwise we won't
Nice
hear it on
chair.
the recording.
Okay. What do you planning on putting underneath the solar panels? I mean, how do you maintain underneath there?
So we will reseed the property with a native seed mix. I don't think we've determined the specific mix at this point,
Okay,
but we will reseed. What we found it with the sheep grazing program is that we have a lot more success in the turnaround time of getting the soil to stabilize when we do have the sheep on site.
is that guaranteed you're gonna put sheep there, or is that?
It's not guaranteed, but we certainly would like to, and we're exploring that. I think we've had positive feedback to do so from the community. You know, they're looking forward to that as well. So we're certainly making all efforts on our end to make that happen.
Yeah, I've seen a few sample projects with that. You would basically contract with an area. When I say area, like somewhere in the New England, for a drop off time and a pickup time. How often would you foresee that for maintenance purposes?
Typically, yes. So we like to work with a local rancher, and usually in that case, we're one property of many properties that rancher is moving their sheep
Mhm.
off and on to graze. So in a heavy rainy season, we could be out here, 5 times a year. As you can imagine, it's really like spring to early fall
fall.
until the snow comes down,
Yeah.
so that's really
Yeah.
the heaviest time. But I would say on average, we're usually 3 times a year.
Yeah, I've seen it in Spain or Portugal. With the sheep wandering around the arrays of solar panels. I guess I'm concerned that doesn't work out. We don't have a great agricultural section around here, in the sense I don't think I've seen many sheep around here. So, I'm concerned about that. And, I'd be concerned about the runoff into the stream if you use herbicides, insecticides, whatever you going to use in there.
May I respond? I don't want to
Yeah.
cut you off. Okay. Yeah, no, I totally understand. We've had this question before. I think just the concentration of runoff, is that an issue that, we should be concerned with? And the short answer is no, that we're rotating, and there's a padlock system. We'll create an interior fence to the security fence where the sheep will be rotating frequently enough where there can't be a density there that would create an issue.
No, I'm saying if you don't get sheep, if you're not.
What's the
able to-
backup plan?
What's the backup plan?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
That's okay.
But on the herbicides and pesticides, we don't like to use that either. The only times we do deploy those is if the state makes us for like noxious weeds. But that's, spot application for noxious weeds is the only time we'll use a herbicide or a pesticide.
And that would come under state controls for licensing for licensed applicators. So.
Yes, correct.
Um,
I think we feel very confident the sheep grazing program should be able to move forward here. We've done a lot of research, trying to put those pieces together. We've also heard a lot of feedback on the bee pollinator habitat, and typically you can't have both. It's one or the other by nature of it. So if sheep grazing falls through, we certainly would look at an alternative like a bee pollinator that would, carry the same sentiment.
Yeah. So in terms of, there's definitely concerns over, I guess, more permanent effects on the agricultural soils in the project area. How are they mounted? Like how are they actually mounted in the ground, and what are we affecting in the soil base?
So the piles are what the panels sit on, and the piles are steel posts. And so we'll drive the steel posts directly in. We typically, the goal is to have the least amount of grading as possible. So we'll be working with CTD, and we're in that process now to put together the stormwater and grading plan and to get our permit through CTD. So with the goal of minimization, of course. So we'll drive the steel post in, the panel itself sits on the post, the frame that it then tracks on.
So how many, like per panel set, how many you get 6 posts, 4 posts? Just to get an idea of land effect, I guess.
We usually measure in a ground coverage ratio. So
Yeah.
a percentage is typically how we track that. And I can certainly look into the number of posts and get back to you on that.
Yeah.
But we're usually in that like 30 to 35% of ground coverage
Okay.
ratio
Yeah.
here of actual impacts.
Yeah, I mean, I think the concern is,
That's my concern.
you know,
The impervious surface.
if the,
That's what I would think.
you know, if the panels are like over agricultural soils and we're not losing agricultural soils versus, you know, just
Is
having.
it all going to be
Right.
stripped away and then the panels put on? Like, my question is, this is prime agricultural land for our area.
A good portion of it, yeah.
And if the project were to proceed and live its life, whatever, if the panels were to come off, would we still have prime agricultural land in the portion where it is now? That is my question.
Yeah.
If it's
She said it better than I was trying.
If it's protecting that agricultural land, that's great.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it's, once we lose our agricultural land, it's gone for good.
Yeah, let me at a high level address that, and then Ally can give whatever details if you don't mind. The regenerative land management practices that we use and we are using for all our new projects, and we're going back and for our existing projects, incorporating it. We were first introduced to it because we have a 2,000 acre site in South Georgia that happens to be next to the largest organic rancher farmer east of the Mississippi River. And he had the same concerns, where we're going to come in and pollute his organic farming operation because of the proximity to his farm. He's the one that introduced us about 4 years ago to regenerative land management. And we've now built a whole team of certified land managers in this practice because we share that same concern. And being a company that owns our land, we want to improve the quality of the land while we're also producing the solar electricity. And so it's quite interesting when you look at over time, which he has done, the quality of the soil using regenerative land management, which has a deep black carbon rich color to it, versus the land next door to his where his cousin farms that doesn't use it, and it's Georgia clay red. You can see the difference. The fact that we have so many projects in other states that are surrounded by farming activities, we have seen no experience, and some of these are 8-10 years old at this point. We've seen no impacts on our neighboring farming operations. And we believe that, especially using the regenerative land management, that we are going to be improving the soil where we are versus leaving it in the condition we found it before.
So you're saying there are other neighboring farms around it? What are the neighboring?
Yeah, well, there's up town and Town Farm Road. There's one there.
So there is some
Yeah,
contiguous.
there's.
But you're talking about also the soil underneath the arrays.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the concern is if we got to the point where someone was reclaiming the land, that it's still viable, we're still gonna have viable farmland soil in the future, because particularly in Connecticut, it gets lost pretty fast here, so.
Well, again, like I said, we're the landowner, so we want
Yeah.
to be sure it's in good shape. Quite honestly, our goal is to make the land more productive for agricultural purposes using the regenerative land practices, so that when that day comes in the future, it is better producing land, and we've been good stewards of the land that we've owned.
I have a question. What you talked about the open space. Would that be transferred to the city?
I think that would be the idea, is we would do a donation and let that become a part of, the city's
Property?
grouping. Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of that parcel might be in Litchfield, but the city can own land in another town.
They give it to the land trust too.
Yeah.
There is a
Shameless plug for the land.
definitely a shameless plug for there's the Heritage Land Trust.
We're here to explore all options. That was part of
Okay.
the,
So how have you typically run student, I heard you mention student education programs. How have you typically run those in I would assume in cooperation with local high schools, and how have you typically run those?
I will say it's not for the faint of heart because it is a commitment from both sides, right? And we are certainly willing to make the commitment, but it requires the equal level of commitment from the community. And so I would say there's a varying degree of which we see these programs come to fruition. So keeping in mind, we want to find what's that right medium for the town. So giving kind of the furthest example, we are adjacent to a high school in Kersey, Colorado, which has a top 5 FAA program in the country.
Mhm.
And so for us, this was a kind of a no-brainer partnership as well. We have students that work together to put these plans, and then they get to use it as a part of their FFA projects.
Yeah.
It's kind of a win-win. We're right next door. It's easy for them to check on, we're right
Yeah.
there. We have different high school, or excuse me, I think it's an elementary school curriculum that we helped develop. That it was more of how can we get curriculum in school? We're less wanting to kind of come out and go and see. We have one facility, the one that I had shown the example on, they actually started an energy academy within their high school. And so they were learning all energy forms, solar, of course, being a component of that. So we took a bit more of an active role there. And we named our solar farm after their high school, actually their mascot, but we gave them access to the production feed that we saw as well. So that way they could learn how to interpret the data, the energy production data, how to manipulate it, what to do with it. There's a finance component that, you can really build all types of models with that type of stuff, right? So, varying degrees, I'd say the most popular and kind of the easiest to facilitate are site tours.
Yep.
You go once a year and you kind of pick a grade, right? Say junior year, for example, everyone, once you're a junior, you get to go do this, and that just, the kids aren't seeing it multiple times, but they kind of know where they're getting to. So
Yeah.
it'd be something we'd be looking to talk with, happy to speak with anybody.
We can connect with the Board of Education.
Yep.
I'll
great.
look up.
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
look at it, right?
The sequence here, you have to get approval from the Citing Council, correct?
We received approval
You
already
have
in
received-
October. Yes.
Okay, so you're approved. What's the next step for you in terms of the bureaucratic hurdles?
We are, we're submitting our permit for CTD for the stormwater and grading permit. That'll go in early next year. And then
CT Connecticut,
Department of Environment and Equality.
no, it's DEP.
Yes, CTD. Yeah,
Yeah.
DEEP.
DEP.
DEEP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Deep.
changed, deep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought you were.
Yes.
And that there's conditions that you must, are there conditions as part of your siting plan approval that you must give open space?
No.
There's monitoring requirements, but no.
No requirement for it to do it.
Yeah, I mean, our interest in being here and exploring this is truly gets back to our desire from the very beginning to be engaged in the community and make some kind of contribution, not be seen as a company. Having been in public life for 28 years before starting Silicon Ranch, understanding that we're not doing all that we can do if we're not engaged in the community as well as investing
Mhm.
in our project. So we do this in every community that wants to meet us and discuss this.
Well, I mean, we definitely see the benefit to the alternative energy source. We're just, we want to dot our i's and cross our t's on the land itself too, and the stormwater, the agricultural soils, the wetlands in the area, vernal pool, all that stuff.
So were there conditions? I mean, DEP is not gonna attach conditions on using sheep. I don't think, are they?
No.
No. And the Citing Council did not either.
They requested of us like a final integrated vegetation management plan. We submitted, Citing Council did.
Citing Council.
we submitted one as a part of our package. We'll take the exact same thing and resubmit it because we aren't changing
The
it.
DEP.
to Citing Council,
Citing
sorry.
To the Citing Council.
Yeah, but there aren't any requirements attached as far as like, as a condition to the project. We don't have to do the sheep. We don't have to do the.
open space.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of those things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we Ally and I have had a couple of conversations prior to this, prior to meeting here as well. And I think there's an opportunity, if that land was donated
Mhm.
to the city, to extend our, our planned trails. We haven't really planned much yet, but our planned trails in there for both the benefit of maybe doing some education on vernal pools and some education on the project as well, maybe in an area at the end of this, so I can foresee kind of a joint, educational component to that end of the trail system if we get to the point of constructing one. So and it's not showing on here, but we do have, where's my cursor? We do have a right of way out to the street here that basically runs straight out to the street.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the land trust owns property towards the south of where you are,
Down here?
down there.
Yeah. The whole marsh,
Yeah.
the marsh complex, yeah. Yeah.
So what communities does the
We-
electricity serve?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We just got quorum.
Oh, good.
Our new member, Michael Canum.
Oh, okay. So should I go through our?
No,
rigmarole?
we can hop back, I guess.
Okay.
Where was I? I lost that.
I
I completely lost that train of thought.
I had just asked whether, like, what communities is the electricity, what area, how large is it, how much is it providing?
So all of the electricity that's going to be generated here will be consumed locally. Electrons are finicky. We can't exactly say where they're going to go.
Right.
But in theory that they get consumed at the path of least resistance. So we expect that to be consumed
Okay.
between Torrington and Litchfield.
Okay, and does a project like this decrease energy costs for the area, or does it not change?
Unfortunately, we don't have control over the rates. That's not the idea behind solar though, is that and what makes it beneficial as opposed to other conventional generation types is that it's a set price that we can provide to Eversource. And so they know what to schedule for
Mhm.
over the life of the project.
Okay.
How that gets translated to rates, unfortunately, we don't have any control beyond that.
Yeah, I'll just add that a number of studies and reports have shown over the last couple of years, solar is the lowest cost of new form electricity generation. So the price has come down to where it is the least expensive form of electricity generation today.
And the facility is 20 megawatts. I think you were having a
Okay.
question on size.
I don't think I have any other specific questions.
I also don't.
I'm good.
So we have our new member, Commissioner Canub on the computer. Do you have any, I don't know if you reviewed this project, but you have any specific questions?
No, I do not have any questions. I have not reviewed it.
Okay, just checking.
Thank you.
Well, if I can,
So I guess I think we're at least receptive to the idea of talking over
Yeah.
the open space parcel and what we can do with that
Mhm.
down the road. I mean, if it's, my thought is if it's going to be donated by Silicon Ranch, and we should at least try to do something interpretive for Silicon
Yeah.
Ranch on the
Right.
parcel cooperatively if we can. But I think maybe we just continue that conversation with general support
Yep.
from the commission.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Great.
all right. Yeah, I don't, unless I don't have any other questions. So.
I'm
I
good. Thanks.
also do not.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. We
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
having
Sorry,
us.
sorry for the delay.
That's okay. No, you know how to, we'll be in touch and in full transparency, we're having conversations as well. It'd be great if we can connect with the Board of Education, but I think we're just trying to do the fact gathering to see where these types of opportunities exist throughout the town.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the only one and there may be multiple here. So hoping to do that. And
So I have a note to put you in touch with the Board of Ed, which I'll follow up on through the planning office.
Great.
The other thing is, I mean, this may be a little early in the process, but would a site walk interest the commissioners
I would be interested in that.
early on or?
Well, what are our options? What are
we
the
could-
options for when a
I guess we
sidewalk?
could,
I mean,
it's gonna be a little
generally,
more
I-
bushwhacking, I think, right
Right.
now, but.
Also, okay. I see what you're saying.
so
Yeah,
we'll
I don't know
sit-
if I want to bushwhack.
Yeah, we unfortunately are not allowed to cut out there yet
Yeah.
per CT deep until we get some more boxes checked from them.
Yeah.
So I promise you, we want to cut the hay just as much as you guys probably want us to do that as well. We
And
just
and
haven't
I
been
think
able-
we're specifically talking access to the potential
Yeah.
open space.
Open
site.
space, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
I don't think there's very easy access to it, to that particular spot right now.
Okay.
I've hiked back there. It's a nice hike.
Yeah.
It's not easy access?
I think to this particular
No.
part, without trespassing. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Oh, I
might be
see.
able to,
Okay.
we could go up through the power lines, but we're only gonna see the power line corridor.
Okay.
Seen that.
If that's of interest, we can certainly coordinate it and probably want to do that before our first snowfall. But yeah,
Yeah.
happy to
Right.
have you guys
Right.
out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll stay in touch about that too.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right,
for your
thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
All right. So we do have quorum now if you,
Okay. All right, so I guess I will add that.
I'm gonna, no, hang on, I'm
and
sorry.
So is the meeting starting at 7:15?
I have it noted at 7:11.
Okay.
We obtained quorum.
Okay. And also present it's Michael Kanan?
Michael Kano, yep.
Okay, all right, so the first order of business is approval of it's July.
I'll just note
July,
that, I put the wrong date on the agenda. It should say July 8th.
July 8th
Yeah, not September 9th.
minutes.
Yep.
And so Michael has to abstain because he was not
Yes, he
present
wasn't present at that
at
meeting.
that moment.
Right.
All right. So you want to move?
I'll
that
make a
way?
motion to accept the minutes.
I guess I'll second it.
Yep,
And all in favor?
Aye.
And I,
yep, that's
Okay.
a majority of those present and voting.
okay, motion carries. And then, let's see, okay, so we did a discussion on open space trail planning. Okay, we did this already.
Yep.
Do we want to discuss it? Based on what we heard?
If you want to have
Okay.
additional discussion, yeah.
I don't
mean,
know, do we
could.
need an
Oh,
additional
I
discussion?
had it on the agenda just when I said
Just-
discussion, it was
It was just that.
what we just did.
Then
Yeah.
we're good, we can move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I mean, I can just say that between now and whenever we meet again, I'll follow up with the Board of Education to connect them on the educational piece
Okay,
so they can start their conversations. And I'll try to maybe get some eyeballs on the site to see if it's worth having the whole commission go out, if we can
Okay.
see anything, or if it's just a tangle of invasives.
have they done anything else in Connecticut yet?
I don't know. We missed.
I'd be interested to
Yeah.
see what the projects, if they've done anything in Connecticut,
Okay,
what the projects might look like underneath
Well-
the array.
I think they're probably willing to at least, if they don't come in person, we could probably get them at our next meeting. Or
Okay.
we could probably get Ally back over Zoom.
Okay, that's just something.
Because I think they're gonna want
I'd
to
be
stay in touch with
curious.
us.
I'd be curious about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, so old business. Continued discussion on food forest, possible project locations and funding.
So that, Well, I don't have that. I don't have my other project on here, but I did not do any kind of grant application for food forest because we did the big grant application for the
Yep.
trail.
Yep.
So that kind of chewed up all my time.
Okay,
But I might be, I think I might skip that on the agenda but it might be worth actually adding that to the agenda. If we could just vote that on the agenda, discussion of
oh, can,
Sue
okay, so,
Grossman Trail grant.
okay. Can I have a motion to add to the agenda, discussion on the Sue Grossman Trail Grant?
So moved.
I'll second.
Cool.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Michael?
Did I lose it?
All
Oh,
right.
there he is. Okay.
Okay, motion carries. Do you want to do that first?
Yeah, so I'll, if you don't mind, I'll just
Yeah.
kind of combine the two grant things.
Okay.
Food Forest and Sue Grossman. So I put in a grant application about 10 minutes before the deadline, after working on it for a couple of weeks, for new section of the Sue Grossman Trail to run from Newfield Road over the old trail, the old rail bridge
Mhm.
behind the plaza.
Behind,
Behind
going north,
So behind Kmart?
south, going south,
going.
Right behind Kmart Plaza?
behind the old Kmart
So it's gonna
Plaza.
be the rail, yeah, that rail line. There's a
Okay,
rail line that
okay.
runs
Right, it goes, so you're running towards
east of
downtown.
Aidland.
Yeah, towards downtown.
Aidland
towards
Mountain.
downtown.
Then you have to cross Route 4 at some point.
So it would, we still have to speak, we just maybe began trying to reach out to the owner of the commercial plaza to come along the side where Planet Fitness is now.
Mhm.
Right on that buffer between those two properties. And then the city is planning basically a whole rebuild of McDermott.
Okay.
So it's already in the budget to do the sidewalks and the road. So that we have to provide a 20% match. And that would be our match, doing that section on, that's already being done for the road work anyway.
Will there be a crosswalk there across Route 4?
Yeah, a whole crossing in what do they call it, a refuge island?
Oh, nice.
For,
Yeah, we need that in Torrington. The lights are
right.
quick.
Right, but it'd be right on that
Yeah,
corner.
okay.
Unfortunately, we
Farley.
can't, where it meets Farley.
Yeah, where? yeah,
But it
okay.
would go along McDermott down towards North Elm Street, Route
Got it.
4.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't do any work along Route 4 because the state will make
State
us,
highway.
bring everything up to standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll likely just be signage or something that says this way to Prospect Street. And Prospect Street's getting rebuilt next year
Mhm.
with bike lanes, wider sidewalks. Well, as far as I know from Public Works or engineering, that it's on the schedule for next year.
Okay.
Rebuilding the road, bike lane and sidewalks.
How long is the trail
So how long is the section?
section?
Not counting North Elm, it's about 3,500 feet.
Okay.
But
How
the
much- how
one
much was the
great,
grant?
the one, we're requesting $619,000. And so the city's match would be however that works out, roughly
For
130,
20%, yeah.
roughly 130,000.
Mhm.
But that's already dedicated to the rebuild of McDermott. So it would just be what we spend on the sidewalk itself, because we're obviously what we spend on the road. But it would be the crossing, the islands, the sidewalks that we're already gonna spend anyway to redo the road.
So that
Would-
works out.
Would be our
nicely.
match. Even if we wind up a little short,
Excuse me.
the match is also allowed in, what's the term for it? When we can log our hours for it, in kind.
Okay.
Yeah,
So with all they haven't even finished the design of McDermott, so all that time from the engineering department could all be used. Time it takes us to do inspections, site walks, oops,
Is federal government involved in this one?
no,
Okay,
nope, this
because
is,
that was quite a price increase with them being involved in the original mile. I think
yeah,
it was like $1 million for the mile on the first section of Sue Grossman.
and I don't have it right in front of me, but around $160,000 of that money would be spent rehabbing the old rail bridge, which is
Okay.
a really, really neat
Yeah, that,
If-
it is neat.
if
I've
it-
been
if-
on it.
Yeah, have you walked over that, Dan?
Yeah.
No, I've gone by it.
Yeah, I mean,
Fields,
walk,
yeah,
walk it,
so-
it's really neat. They're gonna, I mean, the estimate was to like, the bridge abutments are pretty old, so to reinforce the bridge, take out the current catwalk, which is just like a steel cap, it's just like a steel see-through catwalk. Build it to trail specs, put new new rails in and everything. And not do anything to the tracks yet, but what I'd like to do is look for some other funding to actually rehab the tracks just as a historic,
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
historic kind of refurbishment.
Yeah.
But that would be a totally different funding source, probably historic preservation funding.
So it starts at,
There's no connection north of it yet.
right,
It's-
but
Yeah,
going south, where does it end?
well, so it would end, it would basically end at North Elm Street,
Oh,
that
okay.
section.
Okay,
Yeah, because we can't do anything to North Elm, but it would logically connect to
to
Prospect.
Prospect, and
Yeah.
then Prospect has a bike trail just to the end of Prospect?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's, so that would be our terminus. That
Got it.
section would be from
Well, I mean,
Newfield
we're
to there.
moving along,
Yeah.
so and then, yeah, okay.
And
And
then,
then it's gonna connect to the Naugatuck
well, we have
River Greenway?
down at, so the Naugatuck River Greenway technically ends at, well, technically ends at the plaza. at-
Right, like, yeah,
at
Franklin Street, right?
Franklin Plaza,
Right.
yep. So the
So I mean, you
goal,
can just go down Water Street.
the goal is to connect.
Yeah.
The northern part that's already,
Right.
it's already been built,
Right.
all the way down through. The difficult part's gonna be along Winston Road.
Yeah.
So,
Got it. Okay,
yeah, so that's, but so no food forest, funding applications, because I,
that's, nice.
yeah,
I would like to, when we're on, if we're on food forests, when we did that last site walk,
University Drive,
yeah.
Yeah.
So our first food forest was what was on Yukon property and is now owned by 5 Points.
yeah, so
I
they
don't
had their
even
food
know
forest there.
If they know that they have our food forest there.
Okay, because our land starts just on the other side of that. There's a stone wall and a.
But I think
line
that
of
5
trees.
Points has the food forest.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, do we abandon it or is it, how does it?
Well, so that wasn't ours. It was, what was the organization? There was a different organization. There was an organization, they had its actual sign on it. I don't think it's the cities, it's a different organization.
No. So there's the garden.
That's
Is
what I
that
was
the
talking.
organization you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't think that
I
we
thought
put
they had
that
one.
food forest in for them.
Oh.
That was, the food forest was just a
Oh, okay.
food forest.
That
And
was good.
then they're probably using it. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's fine. That's all well and good. But there's a church group
That's what I was.
that is gardening there, and that must be Trinity Church, I
I
think.
think so,
I
yeah.
believe it's Trinity Church, and they're gardening there for their,
So that
soup kitchen.
food forest was right out in front of it, right?
right.
Yeah.
But it's like a little bit diagonal to
Okay.
to the side. But yeah, I mean, I would be interested to know if it's being used, how it's being used, if they.
Well, I would say if it's on 5,
Points
if
is
it's,
aware.
if it's on 5 Points land and the church group wants to maintain it, which they may, it seems like they are,
Okay,
maybe they just continue doing it and we look for another opportunity. Well, so in my mind, we're not targeting all groups for use when we're up on University Drive. So I think we should
it's
we
true.
should do one
Who's
up.
gonna be able to get up there?
We should do one up there, but also
We need some stuff
target
downtown.
something downtown.
We
Yeah.
definitely need
I
something
think we can do them
downtown.
simultaneously,
Yeah, oh, I agree.
but yeah,
I mean,
For-
my thing is you want them in different neighborhoods. The other thing, I've been taking notes when I see it, but there's an app called Fallen Fruit
okay,
that people will put in areas like where, so, you've noticed I'm on mass fruiting year. So this year was a mass fruiting year. There's an apple tree in front of Bessie Park, but outside the fence.
okay,
The apples just roll down Winthrop Street. They
okay,
just roll, there were a ton of them.
yeah,
So this app is looking at places where there are fruiting trees or food sources that somebody can go on the app and look at where they are and actually find something near them.
yeah,
And I've noticed also, I think that the plaza has fruit trees planted along South Main. I believe that those are
Oh,
fruit
really?
trees. Yep.
Huh.
But that's another thing, is to inventory what we already have, and if it's something that's available for people to
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, and I think, I was thinking in my own mind of two different things. One would be developing one of those smaller parcels that's has very little value
Yep.
conservation purposes.
Absolutely.
That's walkable from some neighborhoods down
Mhm.
here. Or using parts of parks like the one on Pearl, on what, East Pearl, West Pearl?
Right, because they can kind of be at the park edge.
Yeah.
They can be part of like the hedge moving
Mhm.
into the brushy areas,
Yeah,
but I would agree.
okay. Yeah, so I think the timing on that funding, we'd have to wait until next year.
Yeah, I think that's
But
fine.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, so more to come, I guess, on the food forest part, but
Mhm.
I'll keep everybody updated on how that grant application for the trail moves along.
Mhm.
Oh, and, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I invited Cynthia Rabinowitz and Bob Brown because we're part of a permaculture group. And we, just as a matter of, just as a coincidence, we were looking at your food forest that you're referencing because it had seemed to be forgotten about a little bit. And, our group, permaculture, is all about food forests and long-term sustainability of, in food production. So is it too late for us to apply for grants? Because Cynthia is very adept at finding available grants. I know of a few that she's even told me about, but is it too late for us to keep pushing at that right now?
Look, the only one I was really monitoring was the community garden grants. So if there's other funding sources, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great.
If there's anything you see, send it my way, and we could work cooperatively, I guess, with the conservation district.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I think that's great. And I also heard that you were looking at the community garden on Mountain Road. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to pull that one out of the memory banks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just am very excited to hear that you even are thinking about it. And I would love to be of service in any way I can. And that's why I invited Cynthia and Bob to be here, because I thought maybe, more heads we get together behind this, the sooner we can install some food
I
forests in
think
town.
that's fabulous. I think it's
Thank you.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, and thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Bob. And thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you.
So, I don't know if you're all amenable to being in the room, but maybe we could do that. We could talk with Ed over at the December meeting. Well, I don't have a date, but
Do I have a date?
okay.
I don't know if I have a date.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have our calendar with me, but
But it's the third Thursday.
third Thursday,
right?
yeah.
Third one, and that's second Thursday.
It is?
Usually it's the
I thought it
second.
was. Okay.
Today's the third Thursday because we moved it.
Oh, we moved it for,
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah.
the second Thursday.
Second
So
Thursday.
it would be December 9th
yeah,
if it's
Yeah.
following.
it's because of the Veterans Day that we had to move it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll confirm that and let everybody know. Okay. Confirmed December. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Okay. City open space plan, purpose and funding sources. So that kind of, I mean, we're still working very slowly on our inventory, correct? Or is this something different?
Yeah, so I did actually we have an intern right now.
Okay.
That's just with us for a couple hours on Thursday afternoons. And we have mostly working on sustainable CT, getting our our points for sustainable CT.
Yeah.
But we did go out just to get him exposure to this. We went out and did like 4 of the smaller parcels.
Oh, good. Okay.
So off of Greenwoods Road. we had a few small ones around the industrial park and that were just kind of left over from various developments in the past. So we got 4 more out of the way. But just for, I guess for Mike's benefit, we have a small open space section in our plan of conservation and development for the town. But we'd like to do, what we're in the process of doing is getting an inventory and kind of filling out some data points on all of our current open space parcels. And, you know, using that data to move forward with a more comprehensive open space plan.
Right, so that's number 2, that's we're looking for funding sources
To actually
to
do
because
that.
it's very
Yeah.
costly to do these plans, but so we have our plan of conservation and development that is complete, but we could flesh out our plan for open space in the city of Torrington.
The plan of conservation and development is pretty much all encompassing for the city. And while, you know, whereas we can pull out the small part of that's dedicated to open space and
Expand
on it. Yeah.
And we've been trying to inventory our open space for
Couple years. Well,
years.
yeah, well,
It
yeah, well,
could be 5, it could be 5 years
okay.
now.
All right.
But
Yep.
we're trying. Okay.
Yeah, slowly.
And then we have a Leone property acquisition progress update.
Yeah, so that is almost final. We the only concern we have left before finalizing the acquisition is that there are some, like, it's like an old, I don't even know if you would call it a farm dump, there's some debris out there. And we want to make sure that it's right on the border, I think, between the you know, what would still be private property and the property we're going to acquire.
Yep.
And we want to make sure that we're not going to have a mess to clean up. So we're going to go out with the engineering department next week just to check a couple of spots out
Mhm.
before we finalize everything, but we're almost there.
Okay, maybe Silicon Ranch should fund our food forest.
Very true.
Let's ask them.
Yeah. See if they've got any,
I mean,
Maybe.
if they're talking about community, giving back to the community and sustainable, whatever they were talking about, I don't know.
yeah,
What were they saying?
sustainable,
Land management and
management,
stuff like
yeah.
that? Okay, so.
very, very good point. All right. Or at least maybe they have partners that could,
Right.
one or the other, yeah.
Okay. So is that it?
That's all I have for the
There's no
update on
communications, okay.
Leone.
All right,
Yeah, we already talked about the open space inventory.
okay. All right, so we just need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
we have.
All right, motion carries.
7:36.
Sounds good.
There's
All
a lot
right.
of glare on that clock.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Welcome, Michael.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Good night.